hard-fought battle, as we thought it would be. And Penn State plays as hard as anybody will face, or as hard as probably anybody in the country will face. And that's a tribute to Pat and his coaches and the energy and toughness of his team. And we knew from the very beginning of preparing for this game, and certainly having the experience of just playing against Penn State a couple weeks ago, that we were going to have to be at a high level of toughness, a high level of energy. We were going to have to be guys that got to the floor first, because that's what they take pride in and that's what they do. And I thought our guys put as close together of a 40-minute game of that. We weren't always as efficient as we needed to be, especially in the first half. But we played with that toughness and that energy, and for the most part played with the intelligence that you have to have. I think to hold the team to the shooting percentage that we did, and especially in the second half, says a lot about our guys' resolve in the defensive end. And we were probably a little more anal than ever about closing a game out. I know I was, and making sure that we didn't take a lot of chances at the end. And I thought our guys did a good job with that. I thought the defensive intensity ratcheted up in the second half, especially when it came to how we had to guard Tim Frazier. And I think every one of you've seen or saw again today how hard a matchup he is, and how much he thrives on pressure and playing through that pressure and what he creates. And that's where the game plan starts. But a lot of good basketball again from different people. I was proud of Christian. He has been he's been bothered a little bit with some injury, and I thought that he came in and did an excellent job. Cody played a very efficient game, and with the scoring, with the passing, with the movement, and we wanted to get him in more movement, because it does take quite a bit to get him to the foul line out of the post, and we just want to make sure that we keep getting him in movement so that he's in a lot of different spots. For us right now, I think you saw some of that when he had a drive in the first half. But again, we've got better over the last couple of days, and it showed in the game today. I thought our crowd support was excellent. And again, it all starts with how tough you are, what your energy's like, and how willing you are to do all the hard things. And if you're going to beat teams like Penn State, and that's exactly what we needed to do, and for the most part, we did it. To my knowledge, there'd be nothing different with Will's status. There were no punches thrown or anything like that. It wasn't considered a fight. It was more verbal than anything else. I've already talked about that internally inside there, and I don't anticipate anything there. It's just a maturity process, and but it's a heated battle. I mean, all I was trying to do was play NFL headlinesman, and make sure I get myself right in the middle of it, while the referees were in there, and it's just part of the game. It's a heated battle. It was a tough foul on Christian at the end, but again, that's the game. So tempers flared, but I don't think anything escalated to any point outside of some verbal, and again, both players were held accountable for it. I thought the referees handled that as well as possible from my vantage point.
Talk about the first two possessions you guys have in the second half. Verdell goes for the shot, Cody gets the tip, and then Jordan steals.
Well, I think Verdell came out with a great burst on that play, and again, we wanted to get the game in space a little bit and get a little more movement with our big men, lift them out, because the first half showed that they were really going to collapse inside, and they were going to try to take away everything first side. And so the ball had to reverse a couple different times for us, and at the same time, we wanted to start out with a little bit of a lift. So I thought Verdell turning the corner the way that he did was excellent. Cody followed it up well, and then we were very aggressive on defense. We wanted to make it very, very hard in the second half for Tim Frazier to run their offense, scoring-wise or creating for others.
How important was it for this team to have a half like it did in the second half, where it really pulled away and held on?
Well, I think it's important that you never felt like you pulled away. I mean, it was, and as I've said to them, 16 wins 16 different ways. It doesn't change. And if you do it right, you just take the experience from those games, and it helps you somewhere along the line. So we've been in some grinders, and I think that helped us. But we had to do a better job in the second half of not letting Tim Frazier control the game, and I think we did. And again, we did everything we could possibly do, and he's still a very good guard. He's going to be tremendous. I mean, he already is at the college level. He'll play well beyond this and be excellent. But It was very important that we established that we're going to be a second-half defensive team, that the communication is good away from our bench, and we'd come down and take care of the ball. The number one thing that had to happen on offense was to take care of the ball. The number one thing on defense was to really control the looks that they got. I think judging by the field goal percentage defense and the lack of turnovers that we had, those were big-time positives today.
Did Penn State take a different reaction, defensive strategy because of the 16 threes you had in the first game?
Well, I mean, everybody we see right now is very concerned about Cody Zeller. And again, you can play through Cody, and he can find shooters, and he can pass the ball so well. Or you can certainly go to him and you want to try to establish the inside game. I think they were very collapsed on that. They did a good job of helping and closing, helping and then closing back to shooters. And we did a good job of continuing to move the ball. And they made it tough for us a couple times. Our screening picked up in the second half as well. And I think that was very important. And the other thing, we were going too fast on ball screens in the first half. And it was more the guard than the forward. And we had to make sure that we're waiting for the ball screen. So I think our offense, it slowed down a little bit in the second half, which in turn gave us better ball movement. And if that makes any sense at all, we continued to make the next pass. And then again, we just moved the game around. We wanted to move from being a team that was trying to jam it into a team that was opening up the court and try to get threes that way.
Was the second half a good example of regaining their edge?
Oh, I think they've had the edge the last couple of days. I think they played with, I'd say the payoff came in the second half. I would say that. But they've been really working. Again, for those of you who didn't see us play against Nebraska, we played very well for many spurts in that game. We just didn't close it, and we had too many turnovers when we got up 13. And we got distracted a little bit with the score rather than how it's a possession by possession game. And their edge has been really moving towards that. But I think this was a really good game to show that when we've got to bear down and guard, and we've got to win it on the defensive end, that we can do it, and then the other end we can come back and take care of the ball.
How much lesson learned from Nebraska where you guys still play fast because you guys kind of slow?
Well, I think again that's where they're absorbing what they absorbed from the film is really important, and then coming out in practice. And we didn't overreact. I've said this yesterday. We're 3 stops away from having 2 wins, and I'm going to overreact on the turnovers and the defensive mistakes and the defensive communication mistakes and the game plan mistakes. And we had a couple today, and we subbed for it. I mean, no tolerance. And it's one thing to get beat on a play. It's another one to make a mistake because you didn't follow the game plan or you weren't thinking correctly. So that's where the coaching part of it comes in. But these guys need to be reminded that they can do some good things. I mean, we weren't looking to have confidence knocked out. We were just looking to understand that our confidence comes from our edge and from our toughness is turned off, and then from our execution. And so that was, whose is this? Want me to flip it?
Sorry.
You don't, okay. I think that's the most important thing that we take from that.
You guys obviously,
Wait, Dustin, go ahead.
obviously, you guys obviously went for did a lot of zone in the first half,
Mhm.
so almost entirely in the second. What made you guys decide to try the zone? What did you like about it? What got so much better?
I liked a lot about the zone, but we didn't want to get there. I mean, number 20 only makes threes against us, I guess. You know what I mean? Seriously. I mean, and when that kind of thing is happening, and he only goes to the foul line against us. So when those kind of things are happening, you don't want to put your team in a snake bit situation. We wanted to mix defenses in this game, and there were some other things that we didn't go to. But this became about we cannot let Tim Frazier control this game. And I thought our guys did a much better job of that in the second half. And that was the biggest key there because we didn't want to spend as much time having 5 guys being locked in to Tim Frazier because he thrives on pressure and he thrives on overhelp. And that's what makes him such a very good guard. There is no question. And I said this after the Penn State game up there. He is one of the most underrated guards in America. I don't know him that well at all, but I've said this before too. He was a big matchup issue for us a year ago, and we spent a lot of time game planning on him there. And now you got a guy that in the last 3 games they were averaging 9 assists. He's getting 6 of them, and he's been averaging anywhere between 16 and 17 shots a game, and was averaging over 7 free throws. So that's a guy, that's got the ball in his hands a lot, and it's a big control piece of their team.
You're talking-
Pete. I thought he did an excellent job. And really what it became is a little bit of a tag team with Victor and Will. And I thought Will really regrouped after I was sad that he had to leave the game at the very end. And the other technical was unfortunate too. He felt he got hard fouled, and he just got to deal with it. Again, it's a maturity process. I mean, for everybody, it just is. But he did a really good job. And you saw a little bit today of why we've missed Will so much. When Will's got that lockup going defensively, that really makes us better. And there'll be times that it's Victor and Will together, and there'll be times that it's those two separate. And today it kind of turned out, for the most part, of those two tag teaming on a very good player.